I don't know, it's like an uncomfortable level of selflessness. I can't share with you how I feel before I die because I don't want to saddle you with that for the rest of your life. Fuck
Yeah.
that noise, I'm telling you. I don't have that much time left to care about this. Hey everybody, welcome back to Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Macross Frontier. You want to weigh in on how shit Ozma is?
I mean, I don't think he's that shit, but I get your point about him being shit, about bleeding all over the place. And,
To
going through all that
clarify,
whole
I
process.
don't think he's shit because he bled all over the place. I think he's shit for the disregard that he's shown everybody around him.
I think he was trying to be there for Ranka, but it wasn't the best way to be there for him.
Being there for Renka and dying literally would be the worst experience for life, because literally it's her first concert, and now she'll always associate it with, that's when my brother died. My brother, by the way, who promised me he wouldn't. So,
I mean,
yeah, let's ruin...
It's a dumb promise.
No, I mean, it's a dumb promise, but also let's ruin Ranka's entire career, basically. Because, again, she's always going to associate these concerts with, oh, that's when my brother died. You know, it's the that's how I learned there was no Santa Claus from Gremlins thing, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's disregarding the person he cares about the most. If you're right, and he got those as stab wounds from his fight with Burra, then he disregarded the safety and command of his own people in SMS when he flies out there already bleeding, assuming you're right on that. And if you're not, and he gets it as a course of injury, then he's also disregarding Catherine, who he's sitting next to, and they've had this whole romance subplot going at the beginning of the episode. That, oh, I'm just going to die next to you. Because I guess somebody has to find the body? I don't even know what the thinking is there.
Wasn't.
Yeah, he disregards everyone's relationships with him. Some of them on a professional duty level, if you're right about the stabbing. And others as, I'm just going to ruin the rest of your life by subjecting you to this traumatic experience of finding a dead person that you really cared about. In one, either an event that was really important to you, or two, during a date.
Both, in this case.
Yeah, so Ozma is ass. Went from a cool character to ass.
What a downgrade.
Well, yeah. But hey, I got one good news for you. It's a mystery you'll probably be able to solve. You're back on the force, Lessons. Well, I mean, I don't know. Because that's like the major thing from last episode, right?
And the Vajra evolve.
I mean, that's not... I know that's important relative to the series, but to the episode, I don't think it's that important. Like, nothing really comes of it. They evolve, but nobody dies because they could suddenly evolve. Like, no main character dies because they suddenly could evolve. No major battle is won or lost because of the evolution. It's just a thing now. They could have introduced that back in episode 1, and it would still be as important right now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, everything else has had to do with Ozma's relationship to other people. His relationship to Renka 10 years ago.
Up to now.
His relationship with Catherine as far as back as, I guess, yesterday. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I mean, they knew each other back in the 17th fleet, so...
Yeah, but we didn't know how old he was when he was doing her.
Mm-hmm.
That super mature way of saying.
Yeah.
Doing her.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Well, because I don't know. It looked like his face was the same face as he has now.
Yeah.
But so he couldn't be Angel's face. I don't know.
No, because when he was that memory of Ranka, he didn't have the stubble. And he looked younger. In fact, Alto, when he sees the photo, is like, wow, I didn't know the commander was that young, right?
But then Catherine is only 26 now.
So she would have been 16?
So it's an Indiana Jones situation.
Yeah. Although, Well, technically, she would have been an adult. No, at 17 here in the frontier. So
It depends. It doesn't
yeah,
seem like we're in the midst of an Asian society. I
no, but
don't
they do
know. See,
mention.
here's the thing: is
I
I
meant
don't
they.
know the age of majority in a bunch of Asian countries. I know in Japan it's 16,
Yeah, but they do mention that in the frontier, the age of majority is 17, 16.
and previously we had a conversation that she might be 18. I don't remember the
So
conversation you're talking about, and we've also debated on what age she was specifically from something unfortunate that you said that I'm not going to go back over.
good. I don't remember what it was, and I don't want to
Oh, I
remember.
could clarify if
No, no,
you
that's fine. That's
like.
fine. That's fine. No, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure she is 18, but you debate otherwise. For points that you don't remember, and I'm not bringing up, that's the previous agreement we just had. But that is a debate that we've had, that you think she's 17, I think she's 18. To a previous debate that we both can't remember, where I'm pretty sure we did talk about her being the age of majority. But I
This
guess
is all
now
wrong.
you're debating that the age of majority means.
No, 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 because she was having a conversation with Osma and said, "You're next year you'll turn 17,
Yeah,
and
that's what you
you
said
can't."
last time. But I'm pretty sure that we've received information that she's 18 now. But also that the age of majority there is age of majority here, and not the age of majority in, say, Japan or something. And again, the confusing bit that this is a multinational kind of ship.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know how that would work.
I mean, whatever the government sets up, basically.
Well, it depends, I guess, what the ruling government is. In which case, it's not multinational. It's whatever country is in charge.
I mean, no, I think it's its own country, basically. It has its own president and everything.
Well, yeah, but I guess that means every ship is its own country. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's what I said before. So, I don't know.
They might be the new United Nations might impose some minimal standards when it comes to that.
I think
Like it
I
might be
brought it
a
up before specifically when it came to what the president's rights were, in that
Mhm.
he can authorize a nuclear attack on anything around him, which implies that he has the authority to declare war on behalf of all of the new United Nations based on the threats that he sees to his own fleet, which
I mean,
means that
he probably
every
have.
president has the authority to commit to war for the entire new United Nations.
I don't think it's that extensive. I mean, he can do acts of war to protect his own fleet. I don't think he can do
Yeah,
commit.
well, here's the thing. If, say, we have an aircraft carrier off the coast of India, and that aircraft
Uh,
carrier thinks that it's under threat due to the Indian Navy, right? And it
yeah.
attacks the Indian Navy. I think that if India declares war, it's not going to declare war on that aircraft carrier. It's going to declare war on the country that aircraft carrier represents. Which is to say that if the frontier attacks somebody in its own self-defense, that whatever they attack might then declare war on the none and not just the frontier.
Yeah.
Because if you have the conceit that if the Vajra are a, I don't know, galactic presence, and that they have some sort of unified mental state, because they're already like, oh, they all evolve together, which makes me think of you play Magic the Gathering,
Yeah.
Slivers.
Mm,
Makes me think of
I
Slivers.
hate
So they
them.
also kind of look like Slivers, or some version of the Slivers, the ones that have more than one arm and one leg. Um,
I hate slivers.
oh, they're my favorite. I started with Wrath.
I hate poison counters.
I also built a poison counter deck specifically on the old school poison counters, the ones we have the bunch of snakes with the real paragraph text of when exactly during the upkeep do you put the poison counter on person after they get hit by the cobra. Yeah. So I played Slivers before they had poison ability. Mostly, Muscle Sliver, Flying Sliver, the sliver that gave them the inability to be targeted by spells. back when Sliver Queen was the only legendary sliver. But yeah, makes me think of slivers where they kind of have like a hive mind situation thing going on.
Yeah.
So if they get attacked, like kicking an ant's hill, if the frontier kicks the ant hill, and then all of the ants in the galaxy react to it, then the frontier has basically declared war on the Vajra, which is to say, the president of the frontier has the authority to incite violence on behalf of the entire new United Nations. Unlike, say, in Macross 7, where Macross 7 called back to get authorization to attack something.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Well, it doesn't, is the problem.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because you need a certain degree of autonomy to operate. Otherwise,
I would agree.
if you wait.
I would agree, if not for the fact that we have this universal transmission system that puts us
what happened? What happens if the United Nations says, "Oh, you can't do anything"? Oh, then we die, basically.
Well, I guess that's the problem with living in a society. I don't know what your argument is. What if the United Nations says don't use nuclear weapons, and the only thing we think we can do?
The idea of these fleets is to guarantee the survival of humanity by spreading humanity across the galaxy. So sending fleets just to die seems like counterproductive to that. It's like, you encountered a problem that you need to fight. Yeah, but it might have repercussions. Okay, how many civilians do you have? Yeah, we got X amount of civilians, and you're in a vital mission to protect the future of humanity. Yes, we are. Yeah, you should die.
Yeah, but you're very facetious operating government that you're representing here. Is you have what, a billion civilians? Cool. We represent 2,000. We represent billions of billions of billions of civilians that will be affected by your irrational use of force here. It'd be probably better to cut off the tip of our pinky than to lose the whole arm. That sort of thing. Oh, you're sorry, did your ship get bitten by the Viper? Probably cut that off while you still can then. So, yeah, I don't know. The concept of calling in and then the government entity to which you report saying no, don't do it. I don't know, man. They built your fleet for one thing. They supplied you with all your personnel and gave you all the civilians that wanted to emigrate. Literally, you do report. You're not like an independent fleet that made itself. Like if you made everything yourself, like
no, wait, because they do say that
if Burler made the fleet with his own money and everything, and then called back to the government he once came from, and they said no, and he's like, "Oh fuck it, I made this myself. We're an independent fleet." That would be different.
The galaxy was specifically said, not the frontier, but the galaxy was said to be made by corporations.
It's said to run by corporations, not made by corporations. It comes from the same. It comes from the same place that Frontier does. Eden is made in the same shipyards, so it's not that it's made or anything by anybody else. It's run by corporations. I mean, I don't know if that means anything post launch, if the corporations bought out the fleet.
That's it. We don't know what exactly happened to go from the old UN government to the new UN government, and why there was this change from Macross 7 to more independent fleets. I think that's the key to understanding it, right?
I mean, I don't know. We've talked about it before, but there's like nothing in the show to tell us. I'm sure someone's going to say, well, the manga explains it. And I was like, fuck off.
Or probably a video game.
I don't know. I don't know, and I'm only working with the information that's available to me. And what I find to be logical, which, yes, I understand. Not everyone finds my logic to be logical. But it does, I do guess a lot of the shit that happens in the show based off of my logic. So the writers are on the same boat that I'm on.
Except when it comes to Asma.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I can write something that's stupid too. Just because they ruined a character doesn't mean I wouldn't have ruined a character too. I'm just indicating that the authority of the president of a fleet seems to be on a city-state level, where this is more like, oh God, my brain's not working.
Nation state.
No, a nation-state and a city-state are basically the same thing. We've already said that. I'm talking about, oh
International?
God, the league that of Greek city-states that stood up against
Listen,
his
the
name starts with a D, and I also can't Persian Empire. I guess I'm going to go with.
Delphus League?
You understand what I'm talking about, even if we both can't
Yeah,
remember the name of it, which
yeah,
is just in a sorted, uh, a league, a group, an allied ship
yeah.
number of independent, self-run city-states. What seems to be what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I would have to assume that otherwise the new United Nations represents its authority by non-independent fleet. Like they've still got to have fleets of ships that aren't
Mhm.
uh, immigration fleets and whatnot, just
Yeah. I mean, they
purely
have their
combat fleets.
military.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've seen them before.
Well, we've
We
seen
saw them
them in Macross 7. We haven't seen them now.
in
Now it's
Macross Plus too.
um. Well, that
That was what Osama was part of. He was part of one of the
yeah. We
fleets.
were talking too far back in time. I'm talking Macross 7 because it's the most recent version of the government that we've seen, or the
Yeah.
most recent version before this government that we've seen. Plus, they sent out entire defense fleets alongside the fleets. Sorry, the immigration fleets. I'm just using the word fleet too often, so I'm trying to separate the usage. Versus this time, we don't have that many defense fleets around a much larger. Yeah, it's a weird thing too. Like it seems like the Galaxy had more defense fleets than the Frontier did, because we saw them get destroyed and try to escape. Versus when the Frontier gets attacked, it's the Quarter and a bunch of SMS aircraft. I don't remember any
No,
like destroyers or anything.
there were some ships early on. Yeah.
Yeah, but nowhere near the amount that Macross 7 or Macross 5, in fact, had.
Yeah.
Weirdly, it seems like the ships that launched from Earth got sent with like these massive fleets, and the ships that got launched from Eden, the amount of tonnage of the fleet was spent more on the immigration ships and less on the amount of defenses.
Maybe the thinking was that the galaxy wasn't as dangerous as I thought there was before. Now that the
Well, no,
Centrati
because 5 and
threat.
7 were launched first.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 and well, I guess you're right. If that's sorry, the timeline of events. Well, I don't know because well, here's the problem: is that 5 and 7 launch, and then Frontier and Galaxy launch, but before 5 and 7 get into danger. So they decide that the Galaxy is less dangerous before 5 and 7 actually hit any danger. And that also can't be true because in one of the 7 extras, we encounter a roaming Zentradi fleet, which then 7 is ordered to by the UN to nuke nuke into oblivion, which indicates that the threat of roaming Zentradi fleets is great enough that they needed all that defense.
I mean, but also the confidence that they could take on a Centrati fleet and nuke it and win the day. Right?
Yeah, because they had a massive defensive fleet with them, unlike Galaxy or Frontier, which have the Quarter and a bunch of YF 25s.
Well, one 117th, I think it's or 217.
No, remember we already covered this in the comment section. No, actually, we covered it in the Operation Carnival description from 3 episodes back, where Grace and company listed as one of the problems they had with their operation is that the Frontier has a bunch of YF-25s, which are based on the YF-24s, because of Burler, apparently, designed the thing himself. But yeah, no, less defenses. It's a larger, easily attacked thing with less defenses.
That's all I can say.
Sorry, it's that I said all that stuff, and then you gave a bunch of.
Yeah, well,
That's all I
considering the
can say.
point.
It's
Yeah,
like,
that's all I can say. Yeah.
it's like, well, I just said everything. What did you say? All right, well, I guess that's that then. Let's go ahead and hop onto the episode.
But before we get started,
Make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
on top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
Unfiltered.
Uncensored.
And uncut.
as well as some early access stuff,
You can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
私が聞きたいのは一つだけ。なぜ？漠然とした質問ね。それじゃ答えよう。
Yeah, don't admit to anything before you're accused of anything.
なぜあの子のマネージャーになったの？
See, I would have thought, why were you poisoning me?
なぜあの子の歌はバジラに通じるの？なぜよ？なぜ私じゃなくあの子なのよ？
Also, why are you smiling while I'm having a clear fit?
アーティスト、シンガー、どれだけ言葉を飾ってもあなたの本質は所詮アイドル。作られた偶像よ。違う！私は自分の力で。
Was that why she's 9? Is she a clone?
だっても
The
し
8th clone of original Cheryl?
私があなたを拾わなければ、あなたは誰にも知られぬままギャラクシーのスラムで今でもゴミにまみれていたはず。
Oh, she did used to have normal hair.
おしまい。
Yeah.
シェリル・ノームはもう死ぬのよ。
So her mother thing. What the fuck is that about? Oh, Grace is her mom. Never mind.
And this is the best song of all Macross, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, unfortunately, it's my obligation to talk over it, so there's not much I can do there.
I thought that this song was going to be exclusive to the movie, but yeah.
Disagree.
I know you do.
Well, I mean, it
Still the
doesn't,
best song.
off the top of like, even if it is good, it's going to take more than one listening or
Yeah.
one partial listening. Like maybe I'll have more note about it, like when I'm doing my notes and I listen to it on my own. But it's like Macross 7 was my music style.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with pop, which I feel like this is pop, right?
I mean, it's J-pop, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's certainly more classical anime. And I already said before, 2 episodes ago in my notes, that I do like the duet. I just think it's hard pressed to beat Macross 7 in my eyes. You know, I'll be reading that later.
これなら従来兵器が通用しない状況でもやれるだろう。これは僕らの目指すものに賛同してくれたと思っていいのかな。
僕は守りたいだけです。
何を？プライドかい？
Now that girl you're in love with.
違います。
No, not that one, the other one.
そんな下手な脅してビビってたまるもんですか。私は負けない。たとえあんたがいなくてもね。物分かりの悪い子ね。忘れた？何？私に拾われてすぐ。あなたしばらく
Is the implication also that she's not a Name?
だから治ってなんかいないの。今までは発症しなかっただけ。なんですって。
The fuck?
歌手としてだけじゃない。文字通りあなたは死ぬのよ、シェリル。
So maybe witchcraft wasn't killing her, but was actually helping her?
Apparently.
内諾が取れました。これで上院も過半数です。
Oh, Parliament, good. That thing we've never talked about before. I was worried about what they were up to.
本会ですか。
忘れたのかね。我々は新天地を目指しているのだよ。新たな大地、安住の星を。
フロンティア船団第7次超長距離フォールド計画の前倒し法案が上院で可決されました。これにより半年後に予定されていた。
通っちゃったね。
No, but I feel like the implication is that Cheryl Name isn't actually a Name.
できてないと思います。
She's just some random girl that they healed, made her look right for the part, and gave her the name.
全アイランドのエネルギー
Would also answer her question about why do my songs not do that.
全ての商業活動は停止。
Which makes me think we're back to my original supposition that Ranka might be a Name.
極貧生活の始まりだ。
こうしちゃいられないわ。
What, when your boyfriend's in the hospital?
何をぼやぼやしてるのよ。すぐに始まるわよ。フォールド前の在庫一掃投げ売りフォールドせ。
Ah, never mind. I thought you were going to go a different way with that.
さあ出血覚悟の大安売りだ。お、そこのお嬢さん、これとかどうだい？誰がお嬢さんだ？
I mean, women also have that too.
Not
That's
as
not.
pronounced.
Some do.
で、何の用です？改まって呼び出しなんて。
And many men don't have it as pronounced, so they're still men.
今、大売り出しの真っ最中ですよ。
Yeah, but I think you're pointing out the exception to the
軍
rules.
の機密情報だが、バジラは反応エンジンやフォールド波に惹かれる習性がある。そんな連中の前で1000段規模のフォールドをしようとすれば、どうなるかわかるか。
Yeah, but
問題はそこではない。
not to incite a little argument that we had a couple episodes back.
撃退するために。
What about every other fleet that's ever folded in mass that didn't happen to?
あいつの歌で。
これはお前の上官としてじゃない。あいつ
Yeah, but the Varja wasn't.
They were.
There's more
They
to
didn't
it.
exist back then. That's all.
守ってやってくれ。
Well, they were not close enough.
Even though they seem to be all over the galaxy.
It's all over the galaxy, it's just all over this
よ
region.
く言ったな。
仕方ないさ。俺の役目はどうやら終わりかけてるみたいだしな。
Yeah, you really tried hard to make that happen last night.
俺が死にかけても、今までみたいにフラッシュバックを起こさなかった。戻るのかもな、記憶が。
次に強く記憶を喚起される状況があれば、あるいはな。
What, you mean like the global? Where she freaked the fuck out? Wasn't that long ago.
24時間の猶予をやる。もう一度よく考えろ。自分が何をしたいのか、何のために、何をかけて戦うのかをな。
Very complicated train system they got going on up there.
そういえばさ、シェリルってまだフロンティアにいるんだっけ？
もういないんじゃない？ここんとこ見ないし。
どこ行くのよ？ギャラクシーってばあれだし。そういやそっか。そうだよね。ありえなかった。それよりさ、この間のランカちゃんのライブの衣装可愛くなかった？ 嘘だと思うなら確かめてごらんなさい。
Check what? What would you... I guess it's being the blood. The blood samples.
テレサの話ではある感染症の対症療法薬として期待されているらしい。根治性は期待できないが症状を緩和する。ただし引き換えとして発熱や嘔吐、悪寒といった副作用があるようだ。
その病気って。
ヒュドラがおかしくなって処分された事件を
Sorry, I'm just fucked now. I don't know what to think.
ま
The side effect of the drug to cure or to hold off the symptoms of a disease might mean that witchcraft is just giving her the thing that would make her think she's dying, but not actually killing her, in which case it's a double bluff.
そんな病気にどうしてシェリルが。
シェリルだと？あの薬はシェリルのものなのか？
忘れてくれっても無理だよな。
なるほど、そういうことか。やけに必死だと思ったら。確かにシェリルは美人だもんな。大人っぽいしスタイルもいいし。でも
You know, if the movie's correct, we could just make Michael super big and you both can meet each other in your super big forms.
Oh
hey, that was Name. Yeah. In the center.
And Grace.
Yeah, the woman I was talking about right there. I didn't know she was Irish.
Now you know.
こっちは53年ギャラクシー船団で発表された論文だ。実際の患者レポート。この子供まさか
Cheryl. If it's just public information, how the hell did nobody know?
I mean, no. Well, I guess Grace probably kept it a secret.
Publicly. Like, they're in a public library.
完成はいつ？
ぶっ倒れてでもフォールドまでには絶対間に合わせます。何しろ我々の希望ですからね、ランカリーは。
Same picture from on the global. So was I right? He was the dad the whole time? Because why else would he have that picture? Why'd you carry a picture of someone else's family?
Something that he rescued with her? With something that Ranka had with her?
I don't know. I guess you don't really remember this from the Seed movie, but the shared picture thing is a major motif.
大丈夫よ。私はシェリル。
I'm doubting it now.
シェリルノームなんだから。
It's either that or he really is her brother, and Beryl isn't. And Beryl is literally a red herring.
だからこそ、本当に思っているからこそ、言えないこともある。しかし、できることはあるさ。
I don't know, it's like an uncomfortable level of selflessness. I can't share with you how I feel before I die because I don't want to saddle you with that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Fuck that noise, I'm telling you. I don't have that much time left to care about this. I don't know what constellation that was. Continuing the fine tradition of being able to walk down the street weirdly and nobody paying attention.
シェリルノームはもう死ぬのよ。私はあなたの本質は所詮アイドル。作られた偶像。
I wonder if the spiritual weapon would work on
文
Grace.
字通り、あなたは死ぬのよ。
Why would it?
Well, I don't know. If she's cyborg, if she's a cyborg, then she still has some organic parts to her.
To do what?
That would put her into a coma. It's a spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapons only do one of two things. They wake you up, or they suck you dry. Super Sam Hot?
それでは紹介しましょう。我々人類の希望の歌姫、現代の林民名、ミス・ランカリー。私は今までただ歌が好きで、それをみん
Yeah, don't even care you bumped into me. See, the thing is, I need more information about the backstory element. Alto's brother? Randomly? I thought he was going to be written right out of the story. I don't know why he's here. Oh, that would be a bitch, wouldn't it? Alto's brother acting like Alto. Because that's all he does is act.
このお嬢さん、シェリルさんでしたか。この方は私に助けを求められた。ですから、私が預かります。心配でしたら、早乙女のお屋敷へおいでください。
Or what if I just tell people you abducted Cheryl Name?
Yeah.
How about that? What's a sale? What do you want?
Yeah, I know.
予想よりバジュラの動きが早かったようだ。
彼女はこちらの切り札なんだぞ。安全が保証されない限り出すわけにはいかんのだ。いいから早く軍を出せ。盾くらいにはなるだろう。会見は中止です。
That's what people want to hear.
I mean, that's why he's whispering. He doesn't want to tell everybody.
Now they just bounce off, too.
There's your warships.
反応弾は向こう。バジラ軍、接近してきます。
我々のマクロスキャノンは数少ない有効兵器だ。
What's the charge up time, though?
デルタ1より各小隊へ。艦の護衛を。
って言われても、こっちは丸腰みたいなもんなんだ。どうしろってんだよ。くそ
なんでこんなタイミングで僕の作戦が台無しだ。
I suspect Luca just wanted to be the hero, and that's what Luca's arc is about.
あと追われたら無意味だ。この中域のバジュラを殲滅してからでなければ結局繰り返しだぞ。
ならどうなさるというのです。
アルト、ケツに疲れてるぞ。
Well, if they follow reactive weapons and folds, fire a bunch of reactive weapons that'll go off just before you fold. Distract them, but lit them up, whatever. Is this the Grace version?
Yeah.
I feel like I heard a guitar riff a little bit at the beginning. Again, I'm hearing a muffled version of the song, so...
自らを危険にさらしても戦団を守りたいと。閣下、このチャンスを生かすべきです。当初の作戦を行うんです。連中を追い込み、そして。
やってくれるのかね、ランカ君。
I wish I knew what the plan was more so I could tell why you were so shocked by that.
Yeah.
これより超長距離フォールド作戦を開始する。
これより本戦団は緊急の超長距離フォールドに入ります。市民の皆さんは速やかに自宅や最寄りのシェ
I guess at least the Frontier fleet doesn't get close the lid and turn the lid off confused, like 7 did. Oh, I guess they added Frontier to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Well, she's not as scared as the jamming angels are.
Yeah.
安心して歌えランカ
守ってやってくれ。
まもなく全てのバジラが予定中域に入ります。
よし、ペリウ君。バトルフロンティア飛行発射よ。
So I have to add him to the board. He's been named.
前期フロンティアのホールド圏内に退避。
遅れたら置いてきぼりよ。
ラビット1カナリア注意。回避タイミングを司令部と同期。カウントを開始します。
So I was thinking, what if they folded right into like the edge of a sun, and then we had to spend a whole episode with them? Huh. Well, one is the glow thing that I've been bringing up since forever. That you tried to gaslight me about. But also, somewhat the floaty thing that happens to Cheryl when she's passing through the fold. Oh, they've all got it. Never mind.
Yeah. He's now singing for you.
Well, the added thing about the Vajra following fold signals and also attracted to your song, you're doubling down on them following you now. Yep, that was certainly a thing. Whatever that was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, it's like everything I said before. That the Dimension Eater could easily just be a large fold device for like these fleets, and then boom, we've got a super fleet jumper thing. It's easier when you've got way in, you know. Not even specifically about the thing I'm talking about, your own way in too.
Okay, we are now we're 7 episodes to go. So this is the final arc. Whatever happens, this is the final arc. Something's gotta give. Because as we had that discussion before, if Ranka doesn't want to do this, will she ever get a chance to do something different? That's a question.
I know
and
it
if
is.
she does, what happens next? And what will happen to Cheryl? Can Cheryl survive this? I mean, she's probably answer.
Well, my answer would have to be yes, because she's in a movie.
フォールドの成功に沸き立つ街。その裏側で人々の思いが、欲望が、運命が加速していく。次回トライアングラー、思いの歌、銀河に響け。
That could mean anything.
Yeah.
That could be the love triangle. Yeah, I would say triangulating a signal Could be anything. I don't know. The problem here is, I think the most interesting thing in the show now is Cheryl Name again.
I mean, that's how we started. So,
No, I think we
literally
started with
the
Renka.
show. No, the show. Well, there was a flashback. No, actually, the show starts with Cheryl arriving at the frontier.
No, I think that happens later, like in the beginning of the episode, but still later in the episode.
The first episode?
Yeah.
Let me check. That I can check real quick. I mean, if I get to. Episode 1. Get the intro. Yeah, no, the first thing is them jumping into the AD 2059, jumping into to rendezvous with the frontier. Yeah.
Okay, well that's bullshit.
There's a narration of where everything, where everybody comes up and where the frontier is, and then like the first action sequence is them going through fold space to reach the frontier.
Yeah, I mean I was wrong either way, but I don't know. I don't really count Cheryl waking up on a space liner as the first thing because it's that, then the recap, and then it's our 3 dudes. So I guess I think the 3 dudes is the main bit because that's who we stay with until Cheryl shows up later.
That's it. So now we jumped.
Either
where
way,
are they jumping? There's another question. Where are they jumping to? Because
I don't care.
The glass says, peaceful planet, Earth-like planet. Okay, but if they have
that's the
Vajra
mission of the
following
immigration, though. It's
Yeah.
not doesn't imply that that's where they're jumping to.
So they jumped on
The
another
whole
random
purpose of the
location.
fleet is to find a planet to immigrate to. If they already knew where one was, I think they would have already gotten there. Because they would have been doing little micro jumps to get there. Like, they would have been heading there the entire way, and we've seen their flight path. It's like, whee, big old S's. So, yeah, I don't immediately think they know where they want to go, and they just needed a full device to get there. Like I said, for me, the most important thing, or the most interesting thing, is Cheryl Name. Specifically, the backstory element where they found her in an alley. I don't know that she's actually a Name anymore.
See, so they just gave her that name.
She's the 9th fairy, implying 8 other fairies before her, and that they did something to her that made it so she wouldn't live as long.
I mean, apparently she was already sick, according to what Grace is saying.
Don't
but
think
Grace
that's what
is not very reliable.
they said that they did something to her that changed her, but also made it so that she wouldn't live that long. I don't think that they said that she was already sick.
No, because what Grace is talking to her is like, remember what happened to you? The first thing that happened, you were in the hospital for 6 weeks, I think it was.
Yeah, that they were doing something to her during that time. Not that she was sick. They were just actively changing her. Because she's hooked up into a machine that's almost exactly like the one that she's in, Grace.
Let me see. What she's confessing, telling her.
This is why we should have notes. I feel like this would be more interesting in the same way that you fight me the night after when we wake up in bed next to each other. You not remember that last episode? You're making this weird by not remembering the joke.
I remember. It's just that the whole joke is kind of weird to begin with.
Is it? Well, stop fighting me like you were a newlywed couple then.
Yeah. Have you forgotten what? Immediately I took you in, you were admitted to the hospital for quite some time. You were never healed.
Yeah,
it's just that you haven't started showing.
Yeah, after they did everything they did to her. You
Yeah,
can't
but the
say what
implication
the
is not. No,
you
no, no,
can't-
no, no,
no,
no.
no,
The
no, no,
implication,
no,
if you
no,
never
no,
healed,
no,
was
no,
that
no,
he
no.
was already sick.
You
You know,
can't tell
the
me what the
implication,
implication is. The implication is obviously a personal opinion matter. Because I've told
No.
you what my implication is from that, which is that they did something to her, which she hasn't healed from. Your implication is she had to heal from something that they couldn't heal her from. We had two different implications,
then-
so obviously there's
then
no
when-
obvious implication.
No, because after that, when Michelle and Klein are talking about it, it's like, oh, this condition can go into remission. It's like she's have a condition that
They're talking
you know,
about
you
an
can't-
infectious disease.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which the
We don't know if
implication
these
being-
two things are the same thing. They could be talking about the effects of what the witchcraft spell is. Probably they are. Talking about why she would be giving her the witchcraft spell and the witch spell. Sorry, can't say
Pills.
witchcraft without the spell. They can be talking about why they're giving her the witchcraft pill and what the witchcraft pill is meant to do, and its side effects include the things that they're talking about, implying. That's why I said it's very confusing in the moment, because without any additional information, she could just be giving her the pill to give her the side effects, and so that when she tells her, "Oh, you're dying," she'll believe that she's dying because the side effects are the same as the thing that she could be conceivably thinking that she's dying from. It could be a double bluff, which is what I said in the moment during the library scene. Also very odd that it's all public information. Any fan of Cheryl Name could have figured all this shit out. Like a Lino Fernandez could have figured this out. And given her a football helmet.
and then getting, killed
Pushed down
in
the
combat.
stairs.
No, he wasn't pushed down the stairs.
He had the opportunity
He
to.
died.
I had made the joke about the far-sighted vision of Char to not just push him down the stairs during the fight, because he could have fallen down the stairs. There's a whole rebellion thing going on, but decided, now I'm going to get him killed in a tank later. Versus, I think Cheryl Name is impulsive enough to have just pushed someone downstairs.
Grace?
Well, Lino Fernandez in this
Oh.
particular example. I don't think pushing Grace down the stairs is going to do anything. One, cyborg body that can jump like Superman leaps, Golden Age Superman. But also possibly multiple bodies. I mean,
download to another
I
one.
think the implication is that the real Cheryl is somewhere else, and this is just like a fake Grace body. I said this before, but you might not have heard me because we were both going, no, at the same time.
That you go for the most outlandish version. Yes, I know.
No, what? I said that like 2 or 3 recordings ago. Also, that's not what I said. Is that your takeaway? I said what would be the most interesting thing that could happen right now. Not the most outlandish. I'm not watching a fucking cartoon. Well, I technically am. This is a Japanese cartoon. But I'm not watching like JoJo's or Bobo. This is, like I said, the most interesting thing. I gave 2 examples when I said that, and you thought both of those were outlandish?
I mean,
I'm in a difficult situation here where I was being serious then, and now I don't know if you're just being flippant now because we're jokey, that you're taking something serious that I said, an actual breakdown of the show, and trying to make it funny. I don't know if that's what's happening or not.
there's multiple interpretations herein.
No, when I'm trying to think what's the most interesting thing that could happen in the scene, I'm trying to get in like the narrator head of, okay, well, here's a simple interpretation of what's happening right now, but that's boring, and you don't make boring stories for no reason. What's the most interesting thing that could happen right now? Like,
I mean, to me, simple explanations are not boring. It all depends on the context, right? If it's a smart situation, I think it's not boring to me.
It's boring if there's a better explanation that fits everything rather than a couple of things, right? If we have like 5 hanging threads and there's an explanation that covers all threads and solves for everything, but it's a bit out there, that makes it more interesting than one that just covers a couple of hanging threads.
Okay.
Like I can't remember what I said back then when I was talking about what's
But
the most
if you're
interesting
talking about
thing.
a simpler explanation, I think the simple explanation would also cover all the threats.
No, a simpler explanation probably covers for what's happening in the moment versus what's happening over an arc. You know, the reveal that, you know, someone's not actually the brother that they're actually leading you to believe, and that somebody else might actually be the brother, but you wouldn't think so because they look older. And that covers the whole missing family arc, that covers the relationship arc, that covers a couple of interpersonal relationship arcs, versus just believing the red herring of somebody being the brother because it covers like 2 different hanging threads. That's a simpler explanation that covers an immediate situation rather than a more complex building narrative that's being set up to explain a whole bunch of hanging threads.
I mean, they might be those hanging threads, be tied to one thing in particular. They might be tied to other things. In which case, the simple explanation
you're having
covers
a bunch of simple explanations, which is less interesting than a more complicated, slowly fed to you, heavily interesting explanation.
I disagree because you can also get so tangled up that it becomes just nonsensical. Like,
well, that's the problem is that you're shooting for the moon, right?
Yeah.
If you can make the landing, right? With that, it's an amazing payoff, and especially if you've been like seeing all the bits coming together along the way, then I thought so. This is amazing. Versus, yeah, okay, the that's funny versus a belly laugh, right? Acknowledging a thing versus getting it and really enjoying it. I think the more in-depth, interesting plot narratives are better than the simple ones, because the simple ones just get you there. Again, this is the problem if we had this conversation literally an episode ago.
True.
And
well, I didn't say anything at the time about what you were saying. That the more interesting.
Right. Again,
things.
this
So
is where the bedroom argument comes from again. Which is to say that much like a married couple having a fight, I've given you my thoughts when they were like right there in my head, like right when I was the best place to talk about them. But you decided I'm gonna fuck him up. I'm gonna wait until a whole bunch of shit's happened, and then we're gonna talk about this where I'm ready and he's not gonna know what to say. That's what happens,
one way
man.
to look at it.
It's what happens.
That's one way to look at it.
I'm just looking at it objectively.
Well, I'm saying that I put my input when I think I have input to give. Right? I think it's relevant.
Sure, wasn't relevant an hour ago when we had the conversation. Now that I'm wholly unprepared to have it again, that's when all of your input comes to the table.
I'm evil that way, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring out a notebook. Can't just write down my shit on a notepad and erase it when I'm done. Because apparently you're gonna bring it up later, and I'm like, okay, let me pull out the notebook. Was that page 5? Was episode 4? Was it?
See, that's why I do my notes. Break down episode by episode. When I do my notes, which is not often, but I do them.
Well, I've mentioned that when I'm doing things with you, I erase the notes afterwards because it's a back and forth, right? And I don't expect that I have to go back to it. Versus when I'm doing them solo, I don't have anybody to bounce anything off of, so I keep all of my notes. Especially, again, the fact that I don't have anybody to bounce anything off of means that I can't, like, during an episode, hey, what's that thing that we talked about? There's only me, right? So I have to be like, oh, quick search of my notepad for a word that maybe I said once. You know?
Okay. So let's recap where we are right now. Cheryl is dying, or so Grace says. It could be just Grace playing mind games with her. That's an alternative.
I don't think we finished the previous thought, but it applies to the first one that you just said. So I'm going to bring it real quick. I think what I was trying to say was that Cheryl is one of a number of clones, other bodies, that is being remotely controlled by the original Cheryl, who is still in a hospital bed somewhere. Vis-a-vis the same thing that Grace is doing, in that Grace that we saw in that tube.
Okay, let me
After
put
the
it
other
this way.
Grace
And
got destroyed, I'm not finished. After the other Grace got destroyed, that one never actually got out of the tube. We never saw it get out of the tube, but we saw another Grace appear, which might imply there's multiple Grace bodies, all being controlled by a Grace in a tube somewhere. I think that Cheryl here is still in a hospital bed somewhere, and she's number 9 out of a series of bodies that have been made to fail.
Very interesting theory. But as you have said before, because I am listening, that also has a situation that if it turns out that's not the case, you're going to be disappointed.
Well, no, I don't think it's the... I would only be disappointed if the actual answer is less interesting than that is to me. And I'm not so personally invested in that idea. Well, maybe. I'm getting more invested the more I think about it. Because I'm also thinking that all of Grace's compatriots might also be in tubes. Like, you've seen Gurren Lagann, right? You know how the anti-spirals are on their homeworld?
Yeah.
Where they're just all shown laying together? That the galaxy might just be a bunch of, like... I keep using the word hoity-toity, but... like rich investment type people that have just like put themselves into these tubes to live forever or something like that.
Yeah, but how does that explains the fact that she was living out of garbage in a back alley in the galaxy?
Oh, but because they just took her from that and they put her into that bed. That doesn't explain where she comes from before that. That is still a mystery. It's the after. That's why I said she's the most interesting thing in the show right now, because I don't care that much about the Vajra stuff until it gets revealed what's actually going on. And I think I've nailed enough about Renka that it's not a mystery that much anymore until something new comes along on the Renka storyline. But Cheryl, I don't know why she was living in garbage before and how that applies to her mother. I'm going to have to go back when I'm taking my notes to see if she was wearing earrings when she's going through the trash, because I doubt it. That's why I also said flippantly that, maybe Grace is her mom, because maybe her memories of her mother are actually of Grace when she was that young. That she may have just, like, disassociated, because I don't know what Cheryl's actual backstory is, and this is the closest we've gotten to that. And then the whole, again, she's Fairy 9, implying that there's other fairies, but that could also be...
We see a Nome with Grace, because it was Dr.
That's Mao. That's Dr. Mao Name from Zero, which that's why I indicated, that's Name. I said Name at the time because I couldn't remember Mao's name.
But would Mao put herself to a situation where all of that happens, considering her experiences in Origins, where she would have herself cloned or have other clones?
Oh, I'm not saying she's a clone of Mao.
I mean, she has to be a Nome, right? That's the whole point.
Cheryl? Possibly, I don't know. She might not be. That might be the false narrative here, that she's not actually an Name. That's why her song doesn't work, which is what she was confronting Grace about. Why doesn't my song work? I'm a Name. And she's like...
However, this whole thing started when Cheryl started singing.
It was during... This whole thing started during a duet, because remember, the first one started actually when Renka is there singing with Cheryl on the observation deck. So technically, we can't tell if... Well, Cheryl is the last one singing, but Renka sang before her. So technically, that's the problem. About every time this stuff happens, Renka and Cheryl have sung nearby one another. So it's hard to tell.
No, because the very first attack... where had that happened in the second episode, where they, Alto is there.
Again, and Cheryl and Renka are on the little, not treadmill, whatever, the automated walkway thing, and they're going towards the observation deck area of...
but that's in the second episode.
Yeah, that's in the second episode where the attack happens, the original attack. No. You're talking about the attack that attacks the 117th?
No, I'm talking about the attack that kills the guy...
That is that one. That is because they go into the emergency thing built into the floor. Remember, that's where you get the two food things from. That flashback that keeps happening. That is the first one.
Yeah. Because the whole episode. No, the whole episode. There's no. In fact, that first episode ends with Ranka screaming. The first episode. Talk about the first episode. Ranka screaming because a Vajra is looking at her like this.
Okay, I think you mixed me up by calling the other one the second episode. 'Cause now I think that was actually the third episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first episode
that they spend in the life pod thing that's disconnected.
Yeah, that's the third episode. Yeah, that happens second and third episodes. Literally, the first episode ends with Alto jumping into the V-25 to try to save Ranka and then runs out of ammo, right? And they go their separate ways. The first song that we hear, we don't hear.
Sorry. Well, it's not. That has nothing to do with Cheryl. Cheryl singing didn't bring it. We already covered this in literally the thing I copied and pasted to you earlier, so it should still be in the chat. Operation Carnival, where Grace herself says that they led the Vajra to the fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the first one has nothing to do with Cheryl. That's Grace and Associates caused the Vajra to attack the frontier. And then after that, it's the project. What's their code name for her? Code Q1. That's also the reason why when Ranka sings, Cheryl's earring does the glowy bit, and it doesn't happen when Cheryl sings the same lyrics.
But we now know what the earrings are made of, which is fold crystal.
Yeah, it's a quantum entanglement, same thing.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be the key to faster travel as well. So, and they can be found in the bodies of the Vajra. So, mining the Vajra
doesn't work because they evolve.
Yeah, but they didn't know that she was in. Did Grace know that Ranka was aboard the Frontier?
Not originally. Remember, that's also covered in the thing that they didn't know that she was there. It was a surprise. That's one of the.
Oh yeah, okay. It says Intergalactic Tour of Ferry 9. I mean, this could be the 9th tour, not the 9th ferry.
No, they refer to her as Ferry 9. Well, you're saying the 9th. I don't think so. I think that would be the 9th Intergalactic Tour. Not the Intergalactic Tour of Ferry 9. I wrote it exactly as she said. I was basically transcribing. That's why I said
but remember, this could be...
The way it was shown, I believe it's implying that she is Ferry 9. Not, this is like the 9th tour. Also, given the designation for Operation Carnival, that they put this at the end of the tour, that they only gave her the one tour. I believe the implication is that there's been more than one Cheryl Name, and that the original Cheryl Name is in the same position as Grace.
Interesting. I think we have to. There's still a lot of factors to be weighed in. We don't have enough information.
That's why I said. That's why I said the Cheryl thing is the most interesting bit for me right now, because the rest of it, I feel like I do have enough information.
I think next episode is going to delve deeply into who Cheryl is.
I hope so. It's the fucking setup for everything right now.
But we won't be jumping back to.
If they did all this for Cheryl, and the next episode was all about Burler, like, fuck that. I don't care. I don't want to know all about Burler here in the final episode. It's like, yeah, you had all your opportunity to tell me who that guy was. Now he's just going to be train guy.
Oh, financier guy, because he's putting up the money.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. Literally, the most interesting aspect that's been shown about him is that he plays with model trains.
And dreams are connecting the galaxy.
Again, though, it doesn't matter because he's not in charge of LAI. Which you might remember I brought up as a possible talking point before, and I think you just agreed with me that he's not in charge of LAI. Well, I suggested that he would. I don't know why I said agreed. I suggested that he might be in charge of LAI because they've got similar goals. It's a corporation. He might have funded that. And you said, no, I don't think so. So
I mean, because and then what is Luca's role in all of this, right?
You know what? That's the wrong argument. You've already defeated me, but you made the wrong argument. Luca's family runs LAI. So you said, who is Luca to Bryler?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you should have said, but you said, what's Luca's involvement? Fuck Luca's involvement. If Luca's family runs LAI, that would mean that he's related to Bryler, if my theory was correct, which clearly doesn't seem to be the case.
No, he's not Centrati anyway.
Well, hard to tell.
I mean, you can tell to the 1/4 Centrati with Ranka.
I think we'd be fucked up if, like, we get to Delta, and there's, like, Zentradi that have been, like, clipping their ears. I mean, it was back in Plus, you're like, pay attention to the ears. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Because I don't remember the original Zentradi having elf ears.
That was because that's something that got, well...
Yeah, it's TOS Klingons to TNG Klingons.
Exactly. In Macross Frontier, and Plus, everybody has a very angular shape across the body. Like, that's the style they used. So everybody kind of has a little bit of pointed ears, a little bit, but it was Gold who had the very pointed ear. That's when they introduced that idea. And then in Macross 7, like, every Zentradi had the pointed ears, or half Zentradi, because Mylene had them as well.
Well, yeah, like I said, not a thing that made a lot of sense to me when you said during Plus to look at the ears, because I got used to the SDF. I got used to the SDF Macross ears, and it made no sense to me to look at people's ears. Like, I don't. Probably should have told me to look for the gray people. Because in Plus, all the Zentradi were like friggin' gray and green. And by green, I mean like a shading of green.
Yeah. Which is, again, Zentradi's coming in all different varieties. That's actually not something that's remained constant.
Yeah, I'm just saying, to your setup about looking out for Zentradi, one plastic surgeon is going to fuck us all up. We know the medical tech is pretty good here. We've saved Ozma from a Roy situation.
Yeah.
He's like, what, second time he's been in a hospital bed this series now.
Yep.
So I gotta believe plastic surgery is available.
We have whole artificial bodies, if Grace is to be believed.
Yeah, but those are illegal here.
True, but the technology, now I'm going to say, the technology in the universe.
No, that's why I said here.
That. Yeah.
You can go back to my notes. Prominent factors, both implants and cyborgs are illegal here, implying that they're not illegal anywhere else. Or it's a rarity to be illegal. That's why I said here. I know it. I took the note. So, yeah, I don't know where Delta happens. Best guess, probably a place called Macross Delta, because the naming schemes of the ships vis-a-vis locations, or the names of the shows, aren't super creative. Although, to be fair, Macross Plus did not take place on a ship called Plus.
In a planet called Eden.
Macross Zero did not take place on a place called Zero.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I've just been flippant and then proved myself wrong where 50% of the shows are only following my rule.
Yeah. 50%. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Macross 7 took place on a 7. I was about to do this two-handed, but you can't see my other hand because it's on the push-top button. Okay, Macross 7 took place on a place called Macross 7. Macross Frontier takes place, on Frontier. SDF Macross takes place on the SDF Macross. I'm already breaking, I guess it's close to 50%. Zero does not take place on Zero.
Plus doesn't take it.
Plus
Zero.
takes place on Eden, in fact.
Yeah.
So
3 out of 5.
Yeah, so I said close to 50%.
Yeah. Mostly, but not always.
I guess if I can break the, I can technically, I think, break the math, but not in my favor. I'll go out of 50%. 2012 does take place in 2012.
True. But it's not a ship.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that does make it 50-50. Because 2012 takes place not during the time of the movie or the TV show. It takes place after, kind of making it its own extended thing, which would be 3 to 3.
Because if it were a ship, it would be actually Macross Mega Road. Because at the end, they are on the Mega Road.
Which I would be willing to see if they... Has there been any announcement? Have you been paying any attention to what the new thing is going to be?
No, I only know that it's going to be done by Sunrise, but no,
it's been a while since I've looked for any news. And I've been
unless there's an alternate history in which they go back in history, the characters, if they bring back the characters,
here's what
they'll
happens.
be old. They'll be 60 years old or more.
Here's what happens. I don't know what happens in Macross 2, obviously. But what if the Mega Road falls through a wormhole into an alternate universe and creates Macross 2? Yeah. Which then you'd have to ask, where did they get those songs from? Like Macross 7 for the jamming birds and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, you see, at the end of Macross 2, they fall through a wormhole.
Actually, Macross 2 actually does have... The animation is... It's east.
We'll get there. It's the last thing we're going to watch.
Yeah.
Assuming that something new doesn't come out.
I mean, Sunrise... yeah, I think this series is going to come in 2026, 2027. So, yeah, we're not going to watch that.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be finished. Well, yeah, no, we're going to be finished before, like, the middle of next year. Because we're going to finish this by December, I think.
Yeah, we only have what?
Well,
now?
I say this. Technically, we won't finish the movies until, like, January. And then I got some...
Three movies, right?
I've got some extras.
2 movies and an OVA.
Well, I don't know. I do that research closer we get to getting there. Because I do have... What is this? Oh, sorry. I've got so many extra folders for my Macross stuff that it's hard to remember which ones are in English. And I don't think those are it. Because that's way too many files. And I know the ones that I have that are extras are not. Okay, that's the one we're watching. Okay. I've got a music video, a music video, a music video, a music video. Sorry. I don't know. These are actually music videos. Fever Macross Pachinko music clip. May not be a music.
No, that's one of the pachinko machines.
Well, I've got those because I don't know why.
Yeah.
SDF Macross opening, his special version of it. SDF Macross PS2 game promo. SDF Macross toy CM set. I just got a number of like 5 to 2 minute clips. I tried to get Fafuna, but obviously I can't find that in English anywhere. What's the other one? Because this other extras one, I have just a ton of stuff that none of it
There's
is.
also one with Delta as well. So there's Macross 7 crossover movie.
Don't tell me about anything about Delta. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's a reason why I investigate these things as close to when we look them up as possible, is that I don't want any clue about what's about to happen entering my field of knowledge.
Yeah.
What's this one? This is Macross Frontier. Band Presto, Ichiban, Kuji, CM. Don't know. All that. This one might work, because I don't think this one has any English. All that VF2 from Macross Frontier. Oh, 2 episodes of All That VF.
But this soundtrack is... We talked about music before, because now that my favorite song came up. Frontier proved enormously popular on release. The Blu-ray release was single best-selling HD release in the entire Japanese marketplace in 2008. So a very popular series. and one of his soundtracks sold as many copies on its first week as the first Neo Genesis Evangelion soundtrack, breaking a decade-old record. It was quite handily the most successful entry in the franchise since the original show, and this enormous popularity spawned a huge amount of ancillary merch, and time went on, including a movie version, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So the music is popular.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I got a bunch of music clips for it.
And also, there's a concert as well.
Also, Joy Sound karaoke for it.
Yeah. Well, that tells you how much popular the.
Well, I'm just saying, I've got all these extra files, but a bunch of these, as I've stated, are in complete Japanese with no English subtitles. Like I said, The Grace Report, which has live action segments, but it's in complete Japanese. It's also an hour and 20 minutes long now that I'm looking at it. So I don't actually know what it is. But again, it's not in a format that we can understand. Granted, I'm also the guy that listened to an hour of 1960s Astro Boy not knowing what the hell was going on, but just... Okay. Wonder who that guy is.
Yeah. Although there's also a live concert as well of Macross Frontier as well. With the not the actresses, the singers behind, because the voice actresses did the acting, and they had two singers who did Ranka's and Cheryl's.
Well, I assume one of them is in the ending, because it doesn't look like a CGI person.
Yeah,
it looks like the shadow of a live person.
Yeah, they did a concert as well, so a series of concerts.
Well, I mean, I've linked the Macross 7 live concert stuff before.
Yeah. But didn't he say that was a cover band for...
No, I said that there was one of the disappointments was that one of the events, they brought the voice actors doing cover for... doing the covers for what the... Well, no, sorry. I don't remember I don't know what the situation was, because the voice actors for Basara and Mylene are the singers, aren't they?
No.
I can't remember. Obviously, I've seen there is the regular live concerts where it is the actual singers who sing the songs.
Yeah.
And I know the guy who dresses up like... I don't know if he dresses up like Basara or he just looks like what you'd think real life Basara would look like. But
yeah, they might have based the character on him, you know.
But yeah, no, I know that the other one is the people from the show. I guess maybe it is the voice actors if those aren't also the singers. Did the songs live. And people were disappointed.
And
well, I mean,
they were not then.
Well, I mean, especially when you already know that you have concerts with the singers.
Yeah.
So literally, you're getting the cardboard cutout situation. That's a meta joke for people who watched Macross 7. I'm looking forward to the Firebomber meets Frontier. I mean, they don't.
Yeah.
Assuming from the opening they're gonna do a duet and form a group together at some point. So I don't know what that gets called, but I'm looking for it because once again I really did like the Firebomber songs. They are the best music in Macross to me. I don't know what Delta has in store, but people said I'd probably like Delta. So
what I know about Delta, it's more J-pop. Like it's a
more
J-pop
your thing then.
band. Yeah, but it depends on the songs, right? So,
I mean, I like J-Rock. Like, I'm not specifically like Macross 7, like bunch of old school Naruto openings, like One OK Rock and things like that. I guess technically that's a punk band, but it falls into that same category for me because I'm not like huge on musical genres. As long as you get some some drums, some good bass guitar, and a deep throaty singer, I'm pretty good.
Oh, okay.
So that's basically what rock turns out to be most of the time. Especially 90s rock.
Yeah, 90s rock was, grunge and all that. But anyway.
Well, 80s rock's my preference because that's the era of music that I grew up in. But I can take the 90s rock because, hair metal bands, grunge, as you said, like a Nirvana or whatever.
Yeah, so this episode, it happened. Big revelations about Cheryl, and yet
not really. It's not big revelations. It's big openings of the mystery. revelations is what I'm looking for. This is, what did we talk about before? Like the very first recording. This is the unsolved histories of Cheryl. I keep wanting to say Crow. Of Cheryl Apple.
Cheryl Nome.
Cheryl Name, yeah. I don't know why I'm blanking. Close to Sharon Apple is close to Cheryl Name.
Nome.
But when I'm already fucking up and like Crow is in my head, Cheryl Crow, a singer. Apple isn't too far behind because what do crows eat? Apples.
Another thing, eyeballs too.
And sticks from jars.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I guess that's it for us today. We've rambled on more than any other thing. We've rambled more here than we've argued in the first episode.
That's true.
So, yeah, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below, and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?